Or hi, everybody. My name is Kathy Burrell, and I'm an entrepreneur in residence here at WeBC. We're just still letting a few people into the room. We've got a nice full house today, but I'd just like to acknowledge that um, we're gathered here today on the traditional and unceded territory of the Okanagan Syilx people. I want to make sure that everybody understands that we recognize, honor, and respect the presence of Indigenous people, past, present, and future. So, welcome, everybody. Um, if you're just kind of getting settled in, I'd invite any of you to write into the chat, use the chat function to put which traditional territory that you're joining us from. BC is a huge province, and there's a lot of traditional territories. Jen is going to actually post a link in the chat that has a map about, shows where all the traditional territories in BC are. So we'd love to hear from you if your first name and which traditional territory that you're joining us from. And I also wanted to let everybody know that I hope this topic today is useful to you. We've done these PAC sessions many times, and people say that they're fantastic. But if you have a topic that you're dying to learn more about and you think WeBC are the people to help you with that, um, please, at the end, we have a little feedback poll. Just put your topic in there and somebody will be in touch with you to talk about it. So just tell us about your choice at the end of the session in the feedback poll. Okay. Oops. I just want to tell you a little bit about what we offer here at WeBC. We provide support for your small business journey. We offer financing to get your business started and operating capital to fuel your growth. We offer more flexibility than traditional lenders because we take a holistic approach and provide loans based on your business's viability, not based on formulas like most banks do. This means we provide loans to a diverse range of women-owned businesses and support you with integrated services, including, and this is a big one, complimentary training, mentoring, and business advising for the entire term of your loan. So if your term is 5 years, you get that for free, as well as a loan from us. From essential business skills development to personalized business advice, we know the right questions to ask and the right resources to connect you with. In our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women entrepreneurs and experts all around BC who can support and inspire you on your journey. You can learn more about our services at our website, which is we-bc.ca, and sign up for our e-blast to get notified of new programs. As you know, it's just January, but we already have a ton of offerings this spring that we really think that you'd be interested in. Okay. Um, uh, we're just going to do a little blurb about today's webinar, and then I'm going to turn it over to Shang. So, today's webinar, to learn how to find professional service opportunities that fit your business, this session provides essential information to help you understand how your service align with federal procurement needs and how to decide if an opportunity is a good match. You'll learn today about the procurement tools that the Government of Canada uses to purchase professional services, including pro services, task and solutions professional services, task and solutions based informatic professional services, and learning services. So it sounds complicated, but once you know your stream, you're in there. This session also covers how to register your business in the centralized professional services system, which is really important. And it's an e-portal, and how to identify and assess professional service opportunities that fit your business. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and welcome Shang Chow. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Switch over. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see my screen there. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of some of my alerts that are going on here. Oops. All right. So, good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Shang Chow. I work for Procurement Assistance Canada. Sorry, what's going on with my screen share? And I'd like to welcome you today on this presentation on supplying professional services to the government of Canada. And I'm coming to you from Vancouver, the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, which includes the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. Okay, so just a little bit of background about Procurement Assistance Canada, if you're not aware, that's who I work for, and I'm joined by my colleague Tess Menges, who's sort of going to be in the background doing the chat monitoring. So basically, we are part of Public Services and Procurement Canada, or PSPC, and one of our mandates is actually to support smaller, diverse businesses through this federal procurement process. So we help engage, assist, and inform different businesses about how to sell their goods and services to the Government of Canada. We help to try to reduce barriers to ensure that there's fairness and inclusion in this process. And we try to look for opportunities to advance supplier diversity through targeted outreach and advocacy. So we actually do work with organizations like WeBC to help increase supplier diversity throughout Canada. Just to give you a very quick overview about the Government of Canada, if you're not aware, Government of Canada is actually one of the largest buyers of goods and services. Like last year, our department, which is the main buying arm for the government, like spent about $52 billion. We buy a different range of goods and services every year, and these contracts range in small, like hundreds of dollar value to billions of dollars. And then actually on average, a lot of these smaller businesses win a lot of the contracts that are awarded every year. And so what I'm going to do is sort of just walk you through a bit about the process about how to get registered and then just spend a little bit more time explaining about different steps. So the first step is basically to get registered. So the short term we're going to use is pro services, professional services. So if I keep using that, that's what I'm referring to. So one of the first steps in terms of registering is to get registered as a supplier under this registration information, the SRI. And then to get that, you're actually going to need your CRA business number. And then you'll have to get it's a procurement business number, PBN. So I'll reference that a couple times in the presentation when you need to sort of come back to that. And this is for when you're using to compete for bids that are not processed through SAP Ariba. And I will walk through SAP Ariba a little bit later. It's on the Canada Buys website, and that's the public site that is free to register. This is where you complete your business profile and you can see different opportunities on the portal that Kathy mentioned. We'll talk a little about some of the other tools, including CPSS. We'll kind of skip over Select for now. So these are other sort of databases you can look into for where to find these opportunities. Okay, so in terms of pro services, so this is actually a supply arrangement, and this encompasses 15 different streams and categories. So stream number 1 to 7 are IT related. Number 8 to 12 are non-IT. Number 13 is alternate dispute resolution. Number 14 is health, followed by number 15, which is government training. And then, so basically to get into this, you have to make, there's some qualifications you'll have to meet. And there's actually ongoing intake dates that are set by every quarter. And then we actually, again, we need you to create an account through the CPSS, which stands for the Centralized Professional Services System. There's an email here if you run into any problems, and we will actually walk you through that. Second. I think I'm going to try to stop sharing here and then pull up a different screen with the website. Okay, hopefully everyone can see this screen now. So this is actually the website for pro services. So when you come to this screen, it has a different description of some different things that are very useful. So I've already clicked here on streams and categories. So this is what I was talking about earlier when there's all these different streams. So I don't know if someone wants to volunteer to maybe describe their business to see if it fits into one of these streams. So I don't know if someone wants to put their hand off or just come off on mute. We'll just sort of kind of walk you through a little bit. Okay, Stephanie?
Hi there. So my business is team building.
Okay. So I think that would go under, because it might fall under the alternative dispute, but like, do you actually do facilitation or?
Yeah, it's facilitation.
Okay.
Um,
So
yeah,
we'll just click on this one here, meditation and facilitation conversation.
possibly, yeah.
Okay, so you see here, there's kind of a little description of, what that entails. And then, for instance, it has different phases of what services might be included in this different stream.
We're less about, we would reduce points of friction, but not necessarily dispute resolution.
Yeah, so this is why it's important to sort of like read what the description is about what they're looking for. So if they're looking for a specific workshop on something, like you can see, like, they'll put more of that in. Um, so there's
Okay.
like sort of like, I guess, like subcategories. So this is 13.4, for instance, right? So this is why you sort of like read through, like if you fit one of these streams, and it's very possible, you might fit multiple streams. So like don't limit yourself to just one category because I've talked to other vendors where they're like, well, I do IT work, but I also do this other stream. So, register for as many categories as you think that you fit into. So yeah, like here's another category for like arbitration, for instance, more on conflict management training. So there's a couple of different, I guess, possibilities. Do you think one of these fits your business, Stephanie?
Not exactly. I kind of was thinking that when you mentioned number 15, just training, but I was gonna,
Yeah, there we can go back to that if you'd like, because like there's also just sort of more generic government training. So if you again like consider yourself to be a learning advisor, for instance, you're a technical writer. So if there's some other like more artistic things like graphic designer, photographer, animator, like producer. So there's a lot of different things that fall under learning because I think a lot of people are always assuming that means traditional, like kind of like classroom virtual training. So that's why I encourage people to actually go through the streams and see, what is involved because a lot of times people, I think, try to like they not limit themselves, but they just, until they look at what it actually means in terms of the definition. So this is why it's important to sort of like go through and read the examples to see if you fit that or not.
excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Just I apologize. I'm used to like presenting in Teams, not in Zoom. So that's why I'm just sort of going a little bit back and forth to see what's going on. So I think I will go back to, maybe I'll just go through this very quickly. So this is in terms of how to get pre-qualified under pro services. So I'll walk you through this a little bit later about the supply arrangement because there's a very large document on Canada buyers. It explains like all the different things you need to include to actually get the registration done. But just in general, just so you know what's going on. So this is the CPSS portal again that we talked about. You can click here to find the enrollment instructions. And then you'll have to create your account to log in and follow the different steps, and then it'll do an evaluation of that. So I'll stop here and I'll go back to the slide deck. Okay, so just so you just to explain, if you're not aware what a supply arrangement is, so this is basically when the government is trying to buy goods or services like on a regular basis, and when a standing offer is not suitable because there might be different needs in this call-up that results. And this also allows different client departments to solicit bids from a pool of pre-qualified suppliers for any specific requirements. There's actually a ceiling price, but there is room for negotiation. And similar to a standing offer, this is not actually a contract and it's not legally binding until there's actually you sign like a contract for a supply arrangement. Just to explain what the difference is with a standing offer. So a standing offer is something that we use in the government to get things that we buy on a regular basis. So for instance, toner. So this is something that is sort of like it's more fixed. So with the standing offer, there's prearranged pricing and there's specific terms and conditions, and there would be an expiry date of this standing offer. So if you're buying toner, let's say it's like $15 every time and it's good for like 2 years, there'll be an exact date. Where in the standing arrangement, like there's a maximum price, but you could still negotiate and say like, let's say the maximum value is $100, but like your company will offer it for 80 and someone will do it for 75. So there's like a little bit more wiggle room, if you will. And again, this is also not a contract until the government issues a call up. So that's when they go through like, the list and they like, say like, oh, I'm gonna like buy X number of units from you. And that's when they would draw up a contract to do that. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say if anyone has any questions, feel free to put your hand up if you have a question, or you can pop that in the chat, but we will make room for questions at the end. There is another requirement. Sometimes you'll have to meet security for these bids. So basically, if you don't already have a security clearance with the Government of Canada, this would be necessary, for instance, if you have any employees or yourself that need to access any classified or protected information, assets, or any sensitive sites. This will be again identified in the bid opportunity itself. If you have any questions specifically about this, you would contact the contract security program. And I'll show you where to find the contact information for the contracting authority, because if you have actual questions about that, that's where you would go to if you're not sure about what something means on the bid itself. Okay, and then so Canada Buys that I mentioned earlier. So this is our official source for any Government of Canada procurement. And this website, you can search for different vendors. You can go through different contract history. This is again where you get registered as a supplier as well. You complete your profile and you can just see different things to bid on. You can actually subscribe for updates. And this is actually for different levels of government. So this is not just federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal. There will be some other large institutions such as schools and hospitals, and you can actually submit your bids electronically, because before in the past the government used to expect paper copies. Because I used to work near the mailroom, we'd see people like rushing to get their packages in by 2 o'clock and actually have to timestamp those. And I'll walk you through the website a little bit later. And then just in terms of different.
Sorry to interrupt. We can't see the slides. If you
Oh,
can share
going
your
on.
screen. Thank you.
I apologize about that. Okay, so. Okay, maybe I'll just go back. If I can go back a slide, I'm not sure if I can do that. Okay, so this is just what I was saying earlier about Canada Buys. So I'm going to walk you through the website after, just so it's easier to see rather than to read more text about how it works and how you can see the different bids and so on. And then, yeah, we'll go through all the different steps about, how to register and so on. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just finish the parts of the deck and then I'll go to the website, and it's just easier rather than jumping back and forth. And we actually do have a toll-free number. This is the local BC number, but there is a different toll-free number across Canada, which I will get to. So just let you know, we are based here in Pacific region. So we have an office here in Vancouver and as well as one in Victoria, but there are other offices across Canada if you need help. We do have a national toll-free number and an email here. This is our website, canada.ca/PAC. There's a QR code here if you want to scan that, and it'll bring you also to our webpage. And I also wanted to promote here, we have some events coming up in BC. So I'm not sure if you're based in Victoria or Vancouver, but we have these public buyer expos coming up. The one in Victoria is next week. It's in Esquimalt there at the base. Both of these are actually free to attend. And you can scan the QR code and we'll share them afterwards. They're posted through Eventbrite if you want to register. And it's your chance to meet different public buyers face to face. It's an in-person only event. And it's kind of a bit of like a reverse trade show. So you can talk to people about, what are their upcoming opportunities. There will be some presentations and different speakers. So that is something we encourage people to attend. The Vancouver one, we've sort of sold out, but we've made a bit of extra room for people to go to that. And I think we started a wait list the other day. Okay, so that's my last slide for that. So I'm going to stop sharing here and then pull back up the website. Okay, I sort of went through this really quickly the first time. So this is just again about registering your business. So I'm just going to go through the steps a little bit so it's just easier to remember. So again, about getting the procurement business number. So again, this is how you get into the SRI system. Again, you're going to need that CRA business number. And like there's instructions here about all the different things that you need to have to get registered to again get your procurement, the PBN number, which you're going to need. And then once you get an account, you can access that here on this website. Okay, and just to be aware, so for pro services, like a lot of the concentration is on these low dollar value contracts, which is under $100,000 because that's the threshold for the Canada Korea Free Trade Agreement. And then it's also easier for you to sort of compete because you can actually get those contracts directly because like it's up to a department if they want to contract out with you because that's one of our dollar limits for any of the professional services. And I'm going to move here to the Canada Buys website. So I'll just scroll up to the top. So this is the other portal I was talking about that you go to if you are looking for any public bids. So this is something you can register for free again. You can actually, again, make subscriptions. So if you want to sign up for certain categories and you can get alerts and so on. And this also will list different resources for you. So there's lots of different information here that's very pertinent to have. And again, I'll just explain in here at the top in terms of registering, you would get under Get Started and it'll take you to this page. And then, so this is how you sign up for the SAP business account. And if you click here, it'll like walk you through all the different steps that you'll need and the information. So again, this is why it's important to have your CRA business number handy, the procurement business number, again. And there's other information here. So back on the pro services page. So this is just some other guidance. So if there's stuff that you get stuck on or you need help, there's lots of information here. Don't forget about like, just contact them directly if you do have any questions. And then here, I was just going to actually show you. So this is on Canada Buy. So this is the actual document, the RFSA, the request for the supplier arrangement here. So before, when I was talking about the contracting authority, so under contact information, so this is if you have questions about the document itself. So there's an email here. This is part of the larger team, so you can actually send an email here. In terms of any details. So I'm not going to go through this, but there's been lots of amendments to this very large document. So you can sort of click on here and sort of read about what changes have been made. It is available in both language, English and French, if you need to go through that. If there's any related notices, that would be here. There is nothing for this one. But this just gives you the description. So this, even though it says it's published back in 2018, they've actually revised it. It expires in 2028. It's hard to see up here, but there it is. There's the closing date. It's July 4th. So there's 886 days that this is open for. In terms of following this, so this is what I was saying before, if you want to subscribe to this, if there's changes, so this would actually send you an alert there's been something going on. You can also bookmark this. And then there's a little description here on the side of what it is, the delivery region. So it's all of Canada, because sometimes this is just for BC. It'll say BC. And then it describes that this is open bidding. And so these little things, if these, for instance, Stephanie was saying for facilitation. So these, like, if there's little, they're UN SPC codes. So they're like little things that indicate like a type of service. So if you know that you fit a certain one, you can also subscribe or search by using these codes. And then you'll see things that will come up. You can also use these same codes. So if you want to look at past contracts, so for instance, if you want to see who's won like in before, or what are the dollar values, so you can see like, is that comparable to what I do? Like maybe you want to see what information, like how long was the contract and so on. So I will sort of leave it at that. I know I went through a lot of information, but I'm happy to answer questions. I'll stop sharing. So I don't know if people want to put their hand up, put their self or take themselves off mute, unmute. Charlotte?
Yeah, I actually have. Oh, that's
Okay.
all right. Sometimes I work with bookkeeping clients, and I'm wondering if there is an option to represent a client for government procurements.
Like, do you mean like if you were actually like putting in the bid on their behalf, you mean, or what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, like sometimes with the Canada Revenue Agency, for instance, you can act on a client's behalf and submit things for them. You can act as their agent, right?
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Um, I'll sort of answer this, maybe ask Tess for some help, because I know, like, for instance, if you are putting in like a bid on someone else's behalf, and then a lot of times they'll ask questions about, like, for instance, if there's a board of directors, because there's like some information you have to disclose when you're putting in some bids. Like, I remember I was doing some training, like, for instance, if there's been any, not criminal history, but like, you have to disclose certain things up front, because if there's requirements that you meet, like for instance, for security, like is it you doing the work as like, let's say a subcontractor, or is it the company? So sometimes it depends on, who is doing the work, or if you have to, like, let's say go on site somewhere, like who is getting security clearance? Is that you or a different employee of the actual company?
Right. So if I were doing the application alongside another entrepreneur and they were telling me the answers and just basically saying, can you fill it in for me? Can we do this together? I feel a little bit overwhelmed about this whole process. What I hear is that that would be okay to kind of act as their agent, to do it with them, but so long as somebody was there helping me answer the questions in the most appropriate way.
Yeah, because there's also another area for the sign off, like who was representing the company. So like depending, I guess, like if the company president is the person signing off, right? Like you might be preparing the documents, but I think it's again up to them to check for due diligence, make sure things are accurate and so on. Um, just wonder if I just want to share something super quick. So I just see.
Just while Sean looks into that. So um, anyone can help someone prepare in the sense of write a bid, but it does, the information in the bid becomes a legal document, and it does need to be submitted by the person who would be doing the work and signed by the person who would be, or the company who would be doing the work. So in terms of pro services, the term we would probably use is more of a technical writer. So it's assistance in answering and responding to some of the mandatory requirements within a bid that, that's outside of what Government of Canada would look at and control. But in terms of actually submitting a bid, it has to be the company who would be performing the work who needs to certify that the information is correct and submit the bid for their company.
Makes sense. I think that it's not uncommon for large companies to have administrative support that does the bulk of the report. They look over the report and then submit it. So you've answered my questions. Yes, it's the same as any other document, basically. There's not a specific portal that I go to. There's not a representation ID that I need to acquire for this. It's just the same as any other document. You do what you can administratively to assist the boss, and then the boss submits it after review.
I just wanted to share this. So this is from Canada Buy. So for some of the bid opportunities, because they're quite large, for instance, this one. So there's a section sometimes at the bottom says partner with another business. So these are other businesses that are interested in applying for this, but like you said, maybe it's overwhelming for them to put that in. So like if people are interested in partnering with another business, like you can click on these links and contact that company to say, hey, do you want to work together to put this on? Or maybe you have different expertise in a certain area that we don't have. So this is another opportunity for you to reach out and see if that works for you as another possibility. Because sometimes like the documents you have to submit and the package is quite extensive. So that is another way to work with somebody else. Or if, you have someone else in WeBC that you want to partner with as well, like it's not, but this is people who have publicly declared that they are looking for someone else to sort of join together for this supply arrangement. So I was just going to share that.
I have a question, Shang, or Tess, regarding language support. We get a lot of entrepreneurs with, WeBC that struggle a little bit with English as not their first language. If they were to go about filling out a bid or something like that, uh, are the bid forms available in another language or just English and French?
They're just English, French, because those are the two official languages. But what I would suggest is we have other workshops available, like in terms if they want to like learn how to submit a bid. There's lots of other resources on our site, the canada.ca/pack, that'll kind of give you some templates and not exactly examples, but sort of like things to follow along, like checklists and cheat sheets.
Okay.
Like when we do like one-on-ones, we don't like review people's bids, but if there's like specific questions, like they can contact the contacting authority. Or sometimes if it's like something that's a bit more complicated, they'll have an information session so people can register and they can ask questions then. So
Okay.
that's a good opportunity.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, so Shannon's question is, how did entries end up getting partnered? Do they need to contact each other? Okay, well, here, let me just go click on one of these examples and see what it says. Okay, here, I'll just share this again. Okay, so I just clicked on one of the companies because this company actually emailed me. They're called Purple Eye Incorporated. So basically you can contact Saeed here. There's a phone number and email. So you can just I guess contact them to see, I guess, like what level of interest there is, like maybe they started the application already, like what are they looking for specifically? So I think it's up to you, I guess, to decide, like, if you, I guess, go to their website and see, like, what they're about. They have LinkedIn, like, probably there's their actual company website here. So if you want to read up about them to see if that would be a good fit for you. Or maybe I know with geography sometimes across Canada, sometimes it's hard to work with people in totally different time zones. So are you looking for someone that's a little bit more local? So it's also like, what are your needs? And are you looking for someone who has maybe more experience, who's done other government contracting before? So by putting together all the documents, it's not as onerous. So I think you have to sort of like decide, like, is it going to be a 50-50 split? Like, what kind of partnership are you looking for? Do you want to partner with a larger company because you want more experience with something like that? Or do you want to work with another small company because you feel like, there would be more flexibility, you'd have a good working relationship? So these are all the things that I would consider if I were going to partner, but like there was a huge list of different places to pick from. So I would sort of like just like go through and just read up on some of them, or maybe ask around, like, has anyone worked with some of these companies? Do they know anything about them? So that's what I would say.
And so, Sean, a relationship like that where you're going to partner with somebody else or you're interested in doing that, you and the person you're interested in talking to actually create or discuss the percentage. They're gonna bid on the contract, but you're gonna subcontract for a certain amount of money or a certain percentage, something like that. That really isn't for Canada Buys or anything like that to get involved in. You're just sort of tag along, agreeing with the company that you're going to provide this part of the contract, correct?
Well, I think you work that out, like, because, like, you'll see, like, in the actual document, it'll say, like, here's our list of requirements. So let's say if you have, like, people working from both companies, let's say there's an educational requirement. So let's say Jim has a PhD, but Bob has, like, a master's, because it'll say, for instance, if let's say you're doing research for a company, right? It's like, okay, that, and then it's like, who meets the security clearance, right? Because maybe you have different levels of expertise or their experience, because it'll say like if there's like a minimum number of years of experience they need. Do they need
Mm.
people who will have previous experience like doing this type of lab work? If you need to submit any like prior work, there's like the list is really extensive, like what they're looking for if you read through some of the documents. And then there's other forms, like I said, to fill out for security, declaring like, again, who is on your board to make sure you meet all those requirements. And then it's sort of like, I don't know if I was working with someone and I didn't know them very well, I would still make sure like what I'm submitting, what they're submitting is accurate. Because what happens a lot of times is if you're missing something, because sometimes the contractor probably might come back to you, but they're like, I'm sorry, but this was part of the requirement. If you missed it, we can't go back because we don't have like time to do that. So I think that's one thing when you're working with someone to make sure is everything being sent in that is required.
Right. No, those are great points. Thank you.
How long does a bid application process take? So I'm gonna try to find it. There is a quarter refresh specifically for this one, but so Shannon, I don't know if your like question is like more general. Or I thought I had this tab up already. There we go. This is reporting. This is not the same. Okay. So these quarter refreshes. So for instance, for the supply arrangement, because this is sort of like ongoing. So for instance, if you're applying for April till June, so they would probably have this is estimated dates, end of September. So sometimes it's a few months. So it kind of depends, I guess, which intake you're aiming for. Um, and sometimes like maybe there's like nothing going on that quarter, so you wait for the next quarter. So it's like for this one, because this is ongoing, but for other ones, there's no exact like timeline, because I was doing some training recently, because sometimes some bids go through very quickly. Let's say you're one of the only people who actually puts your name in and you meet all the requirements, and then it's a lot faster to issue a contract. But let's say there's like at least 10 different applications. Everyone is deemed to be qualified. So they have to spend time going through that. Sometimes there's technical evaluation. There might be some other back and forth if like, oh, could you send us some like, kind of like reference information, kind of substantiate, you've done this type of work. So that might be like, there's like an award system. So there's so many points. So let's say they have a cutoff, like does every company meet the minimum cutoff? Because then they narrow it down a little further. Or they might go back to the client department and ask, okay, are there other things that, you're looking for specifically where this would be like more highly weighted than something else? Or let's say there's like a really tight turnaround time. So one company will meet it, one won't, or one's like, I don't know, or like we need more information from you. So it's sometimes it's like it could be a year. It really depends on requirements because it might be a multi-year contract versus like a one-time only. So it's not a set deadline all the time of like when, because sometimes you can ask the contracting authority, like, has there been any news? Because what happens when it is awarded, it will be published on Canada Buys. So people do know, like maybe you didn't win it, but then you would see at least like there's an outcome of some kind. And you can also request if you didn't get the bid to have a debrief. So you can meet with contracting authority. And like they can kind of explain a little bit, or you can maybe ask some questions, within what's allowed to be disclosed about that. So like if you don't get the bid the first time, maybe the second time you can like work on some of the feedback they gave you and, be successful in future rounds.
Sean, I'm just going to jump in. There's a few questions in the chat just about kind of these partnerships if people
Yes.
want to bid together. So I just want to be clear, anything that you and another company do together is outside of the government of Canada. So that is on your own terms, and you need to have your own agreements or whatever you would have as your own business decision. And if you choose to form a joint venture, that is fine as well. And there's a process that we would require you to get a joint venture procurement business number. And then you may need to register in pro services as a joint venture for that RFSA. But if one company is submitting the bid and another company is just doing some of the work and you're not forming a joint venture, then it would be the company submitting the proposal that would go that way. But just in terms of partnering with other companies, that's all outside of what Government of Canada would look for. We are just looking at who is submitting the bid and are they capable of performing the work.
Thanks, Tess. Okay, so Stephanie's just confirming. In terms of the process, you can do the Canada buys and the CPSS like sort of at the same time. It's not like consecutive order. So it depends on if you want to do pro services. Like for Canada buys, like you can always register for that. Some of them are set up so you have to have that SAP Ariba account. It'll say like it's taking to a third-party site. So if your account isn't set up, then it's not going to let you see that. Or some of them are open, so you can actually see them. Or let's say it's for the province of Alberta, it'll take you to the province of Alberta site. So it's just when we're sort of, I guess, posting or there's posts on behalf of other not federal entities, then so you're welcome to like sign up for all of them, but if you don't have your CRA number, that's one of the first things you'll need to get, and then you can get the PBN number, and then you can go and get the other systems set up. But like go look through different systems because there's other ones that are like, there's I think the WeBC one. So if you want to do provincial stuff, so it really depends on which area you want to concentrate in because like Canada Buys does not cover everything. There's another one that if you have stuff that is for NATO, like there's like a little check mark in the search filters if you want to compete like for international stuff, or you can filter it. So if you want to like just do like what's in your province because you're more comfortable like being close to home, so to speak. But if you want to, you maybe have another office in Ontario or something, you can click on that too. Like there's lots of different options in Canada Buys. There's another feature, maybe I can show this to you, where if you filter, like if you want something that's closing pretty quickly, then you can actually do that. Okay, so I'm here. I just clicked on tender opportunities if you're wondering. So these are filters. I'm just gonna close this one. So notice types. So like if you want, like there's different things, like we talked about standing offer supply arrangements. So these are one thing. So if you do like just goods, service, construction, sorry, stats is or no. Oh, here we are, closing date. That's what I was looking for. So if you're looking for something like that's due in the next 30 days, let's just use an example here quickly. By filters. Okay. Show probably. Oh, okay. So you'll see what's coming up in the next little while. So if you see something like, oh, I should work on that one that's due in a month. There's the other option was for 7 days, which is really fast, but unless you already have something ready to go. There's another one where it's due a little bit sooner. So I think it depends like on what your comfort level is in terms of do you want more time? So if you want over 30 days, there's the NATO thing I was talking about here. And you apply the filters. So it'll pull up things that are more relevant to you. Like this is like, looks like there's lots of construction going on in Yukon. So if you see these dates that look like, oh, why is this so far away? Because I guess it's quite a while before it expires. But again, if you want to, again, filter based on location. So we have Canada, like again, there's different countries from around the world. So if you want to just pick BC, but if you want, again, just Vancouver, you can do that and see what is, oh no, my internet's not working. Well, anyways, what should have happened? Oh, here we go. You see what is just slated. Oh, there's nothing slated, I guess, because we get, oh, it's over 30 days. Let me take this off. Filter it. So here you go. This is what is available locally in the Vancouver area. So you can really customize like what you're looking for. And that's why like those codes that I was talking about before, you can put those codes up here in the search and it'll also like filter. So if that's the only category that you want, or you can see other ones that might be similar. So you can sort of, again, start following those to see if those make sense for you. Let's go back to the chat here. Yes, Susanna, we will be sharing the links in an email and some resource material afterwards. Okay, checklist for starting applying for contracts. Again, so if this is Linda's question. It's basically to do a lot of like networking. So like for instance, at our Buyers Expo where people can actually like again talk to these like larger departments. There's going to be some BC Crown corporations there. But there's another thing, it's the government electronic directory. It's called GEDS. So you can go start looking up like, people by department. So if you sell something that think that would be good for like national defense, you can sort of like start looking there and doing searches for people in specific departments if you are looking for like direct contacts to say that. Sometimes there's other larger events that are going on. Like there's like it's through NABOC. There's a bigger event that's happening at the casino where it's a larger scale of what we're doing, where you're going to meet the buyers. But like go out there and network, like look for different groups through LinkedIn. I found some to like post our events on, but they're like, procurement related groups that you can look for. I think there's some on Facebook as well. There's different ways to network there. And then, like, if you have other friends who work in other or government departments or different levels of government, like, don't be afraid to ask them. Or a lot of times, people on the public website, I was looking at YVR, they say how much money they spend on X, Y, and Z. So look for those contacts on the website and see, where they are, like, go to different industry events and so on. That's great ways to look at that and put your name out there. So that's why if you get registered in these supply arrangements and so on, people will like look, or they'll, if there's like an opportunity, they have to send it out to a certain number of companies. So if you're on that list, then you'll get that alert versus like, oh, how come I'm not finding anything? So it's kind of like a two-part thing. It's on you to go out there and look for the stuff. And it's also for you to like be registered so we can actually contact you somehow to say like, oh, we have an opportunity, but like let's say no one bids, then they'll have to repost. It's actually quite a bit of work, but those are different ways. And again, like come to some of our workshops or other events and like network and tell people in the chat, like, this is what my company does. Like maybe you can make a connection that way so then other people know like what kind of stuff that you're looking for. Yeah, Sean's question. So yeah, in terms of searching for keywords, yeah, like here we can go back. Just description. Shannon, is there a certain keyword you want to search for? I don't know if you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was just like I'm an archaeologist, so I'd want to
Okay.
look for opportunities that are archaeology
Here,
related.
let's put in archaeology and see what comes up. Spelling call. Services. Okay, there we go. We'll take off this filter Vancouver and we'll see what comes up. Search. So there, oh, let's take this. So there are different things. Like I see a lot of it's through Parks Canada. Some of it's through our department here, Public Works Government Services. So there are different opportunities. So you can just like here, we'll just click one of these as an example. See. So this one is already closed, unfortunately, but again, it just sort of gives you an example of like what they're looking for. Or, like, don't be afraid to contact Daniel and say, hey, could you give me some more information about this, like, previous, like, opportunity that was done up in the Northwest Territory. So, if he's happy to share that with you, that's one way to look at it. Like so I'm saying, like, go back into past contract, even though it might be closed, then you'll know, like, what kind of requirements they ask for. You can see, like, the dollar amounts and so on. So here, I'll just adjust the closing date. See. It looks like some of these are still open if you just adjust like the filter up here, right? So, um, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can you see that little code in the corner, the UNPC code? Like maybe put that in and then start like searching to see like what other things might be related to archaeological service that you could subscribe to.
So, Sean, we've got probably 2 or 3 minutes left.
Okay.
If I just want to let everybody know that, not only is this presentation, available to you after the session, but if somebody wanted to get a hold of you or Tess to ask any more questions, like, are you
I'll
going to
put my
share?
email in the chat here.
Super. Yeah. Jen will share that for sure in the follow-up email so that if anybody, didn't get a chance to ask a question or somehow is really thinking of, the next thing, or you think of something in the middle of the night, there's an opportunity. You can either contact us at WeBC or contact Shong or Tess, directly. So do you want to stop sharing your screen or do you want to take one
I
last
was just gonna
question?
like plug like one last little
Yeah,
thing. So if
please
people
do.
want more information on bidding on opportunities, there's another session coming up on February 25th.
Okay.
There's kind of a weekly drop-in. It's called Ask Us Anything. So that usually runs on Fridays. That's usually hosted by Western Region. But again, that's just an opportunity for you to just like, oh, I have a question about this. And then they can spend a bit more time with you. You can request a one-on-one. So that's when we do just like, it's like I have like, you can send us like your like if you have a website, we can have a look and then maybe like do some research ahead of time and say, oh, here's a couple of leads I thought will be useful for you. You can try to attend other workshops we do. If there's something specific you need, we can send you like, oh, here's a really good reference guide for you if you want like a specific topic. So there's lots of different information we can share with you. So it's just a matter of like just asking.
Great. Yeah, that's super. Yeah, the hour goes so fast. I mean, with 40 odd people, asking questions, and so that's great. So I'll just reshare my screen and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. There you go. All right. Uh, I just want to thank Shang so much and Tess for being here today. I mean, these sessions are mind-blowing to people that the government of Canada is actually looking for your services, your business to bid on procurement. Yeah, so thank you so much. It was a great presentation. Don't worry, everybody, you're going to get an opportunity to re-watch this presentation in the next day or two. So thank you so much for your participation today, Shang. You were great. I just want to mention a couple of things from you, WeBC, before we leave, which is essentially we've got lots of upcoming promotions and programs. We'd love you to register for some of our free SMART programs if you need anything. If you'd also like to sign up for our eBlast newsletter, that would be fantastic as well. We've got all these things happening. This is only part one of the PAC series we have. So February 5th, we've got our second session, government procurement. We've got all sorts of things going on. February 12th is our last session. So if you're interested, please sign up. If you're on our eBlast, you'll get an email from us that you can sign up directly from the email, which is fantastic. So otherwise, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you have a second, if you could hang around and do our feedback poll, we would really love that. And as I mentioned before, if you have a topic that you don't see that anyone is talking about and you think WeBC should do it, please mention it in the feedback poll. And yeah, sign up for our eBlast newsletter. You'll be part of a group of women that own businesses here in BC, a huge amount. And we love to promote you and help you with your business. So yeah, feedback poll will go on, but if anyone has to go, I think it's almost 11 o'clock. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and really enjoy the rest of your day and have a good think about what this is, because I think with the newfound push on buy Canada, buy Canadian. I mean, this is a golden opportunity for anyone in Canada with a business now. So yeah, thanks again, Shang, for the great presentation. And I hope we see you again on part two, because we'll be discussing different things then as well. So, and the
Thanks so
feedback
much,
poll.
everyone, for
Thanks so
attending.
much.
And yeah, Kathy, that's great for the Buy Canadian plug because yes, our group will definitely be doing more promotion and outreach on that as the government policy is being shaped.
Yeah, it's a weird time, but it's also an advantageous time in a lot of ways, as Canadians. So thanks so much for that.
Yeah,
Bye,
if you
everybody.
already registered for the session, you registered for all three, so you don't need to
Ah,
re-register. Just a heads
thanks,
up.
Jen.
Yeah.
Again, being out of the loop.
It's okay. Just don't
Thank
want to
you.
let them triple rebooking and yeah,
Exactly.
they're all good.
Yeah.
You guys are all registered. You'll
Okay,
receive the reminder
great.
emails and the recordings.
Great. So I look forward to seeing you all next time. I guess the 5th of February. Sounds fantastic.